All right, welcome back everyone to another video. Happy holidays in the season. And today, this is a video I've been thinking about for a long time and then recently just started, brainstorming, putting in the actual work to make it what it is now. And it's, as you can see, my top 10 favorite movies, not of just this year, but like of all time right now. So obviously the list can change. So that's why it's as of 2025. So we're going to start from 10, go all the way down to 1. So let's get started. Before we start, actually, I forgot about this. General rules. So this is basically how I rank them in my system. So when I watch a movie, it becomes one of my favorites if it's consistent. So like it can't just have a strong beginning and then like is boring in the middle. It needs to be entertaining the whole time, which kind of goes back to that consistency. And for like kind of a bonus, it can have an impact on me. So like by that I mean maybe thinking about it like at random times, or maybe like thinking of a certain scene that like is funny or just super cool. And lastly, walking away amazed. So like after closing out of the movie when it finishes, thinking, wow, that was amazing. So now let's get started. Number 10 is Creed 1, 2015. This was a huge break because the last Rocky movie was 2006, and this one is a huge turn with a new boxer, which was Creed, Michael B. Jordan coming up. And I think it continues the Rocky like universe really good. As obviously they continue to make movies. There's three Creeds, and I think it's cool to see Rocky in a different perspective to see and like to see him as a trainer. And he's a bit hesitant at first because like maybe getting back into boxing is like not good, but he ends up doing it, and the movie turns out really, really good. I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of time on these movies because I don't want to like make this a 20-minute video. So, Creed, number 10. Number 9, Life. Eddie Murphy stars in this one. He's one of my favorite actors, and this is my favorite movie by him. I don't think it's his best. A lot of times I'm gonna say this throughout the video. There are like movies in the later half that are probably better than the upper half, but I like the upper half more. So I don't think this is his best movie, but it's very good, very consistent, and the story are just like the different like time lapse of them first becoming like arrested or life in prison, whatever, and then you see them like 20 years later, and then you end up seeing them as like super, super old, and then they end up getting out at the end. It's really cool, funny, of course, great movie. Number 8 is The Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the first of the four movie series, I think, four and counting. Um, I do think the first one is the best, and then it continues like second is second best, third is third best, but they're all still good. I do really like this one the most because the way it ends, you really like get to see or like think and can like wonder how it's going to continue into the later movies because it really sets up a lot of different like ways or possibilities. Like seeing the rise of Caesar, like him going back to I don't remember the main character's name. It's been like a year or two since I watched this. Going back to his house and like growing up there, seeing different things. Then he eventually goes to like the facility with all the other apes who are like normal, of course. Then he, gets them on his team, and then they end up like this picture rioting the city. So I think it's really good, very interesting, and takes nice turns. Like those turns are very beneficial. Number 7, Creed 2. Um, I think the first one is better. Like I said, the better movies doesn't mean they're ranked higher. The first one's better, but I like the second one more. Reason being, the movie already starts out with these two guys having a great relationship. I know it dips in the movie, but then it ends up going back. The training montage I think was better in this one, where they went out to that place in the middle of nowhere. That was really cool. And I think some people think it's corny, but it's really cool to like see to bring back the Drago thing, because I mean, it literally makes you root for Creed so much more just because of what happened in Rocky number 4. So yeah, Creed 2 is number 7. Number six, Avengers Endgame. When I first watched this movie, it was probably my favorite and was my favorite for some years. This was my favorite movie for a long time, for a good reason though. It's really good, even though it's like 2.5, maybe pushing 3 hours. It's very interesting. Where they go back in time to get the stones, and then obviously the ending with the huge finale fight. Um, it's amazing from start to finish. And yeah, number six, Avengers Endgame. Number five, a classic, not a whole bunch of like classics, like agreed classics on this list, but number five is Forrest Gump, another movie that when I first watched it, I knew it was like in my top five or 10, right off of the first watch. So this one's really good. Obviously, it tells an amazing story and it's consistent, keeps you really entertained as you like follow someone from when he was a kid to then go into the army to then being on a boat with the shrimp and then to the end. The only thing I have with this movie is the ending, from what I remember, where he just like gets off of that bench, this bench here, and then just starts like running, running, and running. It's not bad, but still though, number five. Going into the top five more, number four is Prey. I think this is the best Predator movie that was made. I didn't see Badlands yet, the newest one, as of now, but this one, if you watch it in chronological order, I think this is the first one to watch, and it was the first one that I watched, and it's my favorite. Very good and nice to see. Like, I think it's cool how this movie they made it really big on if you're not a threat, the predator won't kill you, most likely. Like if you don't have a gun or if you're not charging at him or anything, like he's not gonna kill you. So I think to see that being used to its advantage here, especially in like the final fight and other parts, a lot of great action scenes as well in this one too, like very different. So Prey is number four on the list. All right, going into honorable mentions before we introduce the top three, I have four honorable mentions here. Them being the first Beverly Hills Cop, the first Equalizer, the first Gladiator, and Spider-Man Homecoming. I really wanted to put Gladiator in the top 10. This was probably number 11. And I was deciding on this one or the second one with which one I like more. Denzel Washington does a great job in the second one as like the cool guy who then becomes the villain. But I think you just can't beat the first one. How I know both of the gladiators like families died in the beginnings, but like this one was way more intense where his family was literally like hung up and burned, which was wild. And then he obviously goes back and does his thing. Very great movie. It's, with the Equalizer, Denzel Washington is one of my favorite actors, but to not even have one of his movies so far from 10 to 3 was weird. But I think it's just because a lot of his movies are in that like great range. Maybe not like excellent, but The Equalizer was very good, very consistent, and it's impressive how good some of these actors are when they're older, like Sylvester Stallone, Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson's a good one. Beverly Hills Cop, it was great. I think it's definitely my favorite one, of course, because it's on this list out of all of the ones in the series. Very good, very consistent, and very funny, of course. Now, moving on to the top three is number three, The Hateful Eight. 10 years ago, it was made. And this movie is just a banger. It's probably the longest on this list. I think maybe this or Endgame, because this movie is almost 3 hours as well. This movie isn't very like all over the place. Like it's very specific like settings where it takes place. It starts off outside and they end up riding a horse, like a carriage, and then going inside to this cabin for I believe the whole rest of the movie. It's a great like mystery type, thriller type movie where it, keeps you guessing and then all these little things get sprinkled in throughout the movie to be like, oh wait, it's not this guy. He's safe. So maybe it's this guy. Yeah, stuff like that. Samuel L. Jackson does a great job. I believe his character's name's Major Warren in this one. But yeah, he does a great job, especially like towards the middle end. He kind of like pieces everything together. So you don't have to like keep all these predictions in your head. Like everything starts to come together because of him, which was great. Moving on to number two, Rocky 3. I don't see a lot of people having this one as like their favorite. It's always four and one, maybe the sixth one, Rocky Balboa, but three was my favorite. I liked almost every single part of this movie. You have the fight with Hulk Hogan. I think his name was Thunder Lips in the movie at the beginning. And then you see Rocky kind of be a little cocky and then he loses. And then my favorite part, which was when he trains and becomes friends with Apollo Creed, that is basically the number one reason why it's my favorite Rocky movie and why it's so good. And then you see him come back and just I think it's only 3 rounds this the final fight takes for Rocky to win and become the champ again. So that was amazing. And then obviously you have the fight at the end that doesn't get fully um recorded because they stop right as it was about to start between Rocky and Creed. But yeah, I could talk about this movie for a long time. It's one of the shorter Rockies, but it's amazing. And then you have that scene on the beach with him and Adrian. It's just great. So many great parts. Now you might be asking yourself, if you talked about this movie so highly, why is it only number two? That's because my number one movie, which might be a surprise, number one is Set It Off. I only watched this movie once and it was amazing. It's a little over 2 hours, and when I was like an hour in, it was like, wow, so much has happened in this 1 hour. Again with the ending, like Forrest Gump, I feel like it wasn't bad. It was just really, really intense with all of them dying except for her, I believe, Jada Pinkett. Um, and like it was very intense with a huge like police chase, but it was so interesting from start to finish. And I think it's cool how every one of these characters like had something going on, so, like something bad going on in their life, and then they ended up like coming together to, try to fix it by robbing banks. And even though they're robbing banks, and obviously that's really bad, you still find yourself rooting for them because of like them doing it together and because of like these reasons they're doing them for to try to like, get back on their feet. But yeah, this movie was great. Amazing. Not like a whole bunch of replay value, but it's still amazing to watch it every once in a while. Great movie. Now, I do have the final like condensed list here for you guys to see from 10 to 1. So yeah, those were my top 10 movies as of 2025. I don't know, maybe I'll make another video in like 2 years to see if anything shakes up. But yeah, it took a while to like narrow down these movies, but it was great. But yeah, these are my top 10. If there's any agreements or disagreements, let me know in the comments. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the list, and I'm out. Peace.